So today we got Lindsay Alvarez, old friend of ours. Not that she's old, but just that we've known each other for a long time.
I'm getting old.
Not really. But you guys have known each other for some time as well, right?
Yes, we
I've known
have.
Lindsay for many years, and she's a very good friend of my wife's. They met in law school.
Very nice.
I met Lindsay when she was interning for Judge Foster.
Okay.
And I remember hanging out and talking to her back then, years ago. So she's amazing. So I'm happy that she's here, and I can't wait to talk.
Well, we'll get to her in a minute, and then we have a new guest. Mike, how do you pronounce your last name?
Davis.
Davis. Okay, Mike Davis. Michael Davis. And you are an attorney as well. And is your specialty or your field of practice what, civil rights?
Yes, sir. We do civil rights. I'm also board certified in health and appeals.
All right.
So our firm does that, and then we also have a white collar criminal defense practice.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
And my wife's board certified in criminal law too, so we'll talk. We'll trade it. Melissa Giasi. Yeah, very cool, man. I love it. I can tell you, I haven't read that many civil rights attorneys. That's impressive. Yes, I like the way
I got it there. That's right.
It's a very special.
I took your glass by mistake. I'll get you a new glass. So
I'm not too worried about it. I'm a mom.
I'll get you a new glass. All right. Well, let's start with Ms. Alvarez here. So, Alvarez, tell us about your background, your education. What do you do now, and then why do you aspire to be a judge?
Okay. So I grew up primarily in Colorado. I moved here in 1989, and I went to high school, all of high school here.
What high school?
Plant High School.
Okay.
We moved here. At that time, 9th grade was at Wilson. Junior high is what it was called then. So I went to 9th grade at Wilson, and then I went to Plant High School, and I graduated the same year Mike did from Jesuit, although Mike and I did not know each other in high school. I moved here in '89. I grew up pretty normal. We were in the country. Very simple life. Very middle class. My parents were the first ones in both of their families to be educated. My dad is a Vietnam vet. A lot of people don't know that about me. So I grew up thinking that was normal, that everybody's family had sort of this military background. And that kind of brought about its own struggles, and I got to grow up sort of really learning a lot about that. And the older I get, and now as a mother, I have such an appreciation for that sacrifice. My mom was a nurse. She is now retired. She was an operating room nurse at All Children's Hospital. We moved here in '89. I graduated from Plant High School, and I went on to Florida State. And I have an undergrad degree in elementary education.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people. I taught.
That makes you a better attorney, I can imagine.
Yes, I love children, but it's a lot more fun to play with them.
Yeah.
I don't want to get that booty.
You're right. So I came here from FSU and went and did my final internship, which most of us know teachers do that because even in going to school, you remember at least one intern during your time at school. And I taught second grade at Tampa Bay Elementary over there right near the stadium in West Tampa. Yes. And then right around then, I wanted to go to law school. I didn't really have the means because it's a sort of a funny thing when your parents sort of dump you out with a degree. A lot of parents aren't too keen on you continuing on or being on their bill. So it wasn't really an option. I waited a couple years. And then I eventually started, and I took the LSAT, and I went to Stetson College of Law. I did not know what I wanted to do when I went to Stetson. I had some interactions with lawyers, and as far as what inspired me to be a lawyer, I feel like a lot of us have very similar stories, but it was to learn something that you have to rely on others to know about. I think it is very similar to being a CPA and doing taxes. Almost all of us have to rely on somebody to handle that kind of stuff. I have no interest in being a CPA, but I think there was that reliance and wanting, it sounds crazy, but sort of wanting to help people in that and have a profession that I thought I could be good at. and I can talk. So, you know, why not go to law school? While I was at law school, I'm not quite sure what triggered it, but very quickly I knew I wanted to go work at the state attorney's office or the public defender's office. As Mike mentioned, I got a clerkship with Robert Foster. At the time he was on the criminal bench, and I can tell you that that truly shaped everything I do now. Everything that, being in that criminal courtroom and seeing what it's like, it's pretty crazy to not have a dog in the fight and sort of see what's going on. And I was so inspired by the prosecutors and the public defender interacting in that courtroom that I knew then this is what I want to do.
That's awesome.
Then I was a CLI, certified legal intern. You guys know that. Actually, I got assigned Pinellas, so I worked under Bernie McCabe in my last semester of law school, and then I came here and Mark Over hired me as a prosecutor, and it really shaped everything, and it shaped the kind of lawyer that I am today. That was the pivotal moment of my life, which is when I met Mike, and it was very pivotal.
Yeah, I can remember it's when you were Foster used to be on the first floor. Yeah. Back when it was, I think, room 8 down at the right. So that's where Lindsay was, and I remember going in, arguing motions, and just kind of, you know, talking to her about stuff and kind of getting her take on, you know. So it was always very, very cool to just, you know, kind of bounce ideas off of her. And I remember that like it was yesterday.
It's the most important thing I've ever done in my legal sort of guidance portion where you make really important decisions. Because as we know, there's so many lawyers. I can't speak for every state, every city. I do think in Florida, when you hear the numbers of the amount of people taking the Florida bar, although it's exciting, but it is very difficult, it makes it very hard to have a diverse career. So that's sort of
Like 4,000 or something every run.
it's crazy. It's
Twice a
crazy.
year, 8,000 people a year. That's pretty crazy.
It's crazy.
Before we go on, though, one of the questions Mike always asks is, what brought your family to Tampa? We're always fascinated. Here they are in Colorado. So why Tampa? How did that work out?
My dad just moved jobs, and he was moving up in the world, and at the time customer service. My dad worked for Diners Club. Isn't that a riot?
That's awesome.
That's not around anymore, is it?
I don't know. It's really like right out.
So my dad's sort of a high level IT guy, really. He got into computers. He was in the Army Corps of Engineer and did that in Vietnam, and then just sort of took that. So then he got a job at Time Customer Service, which at the time, I don't think they're in there anymore. They were in that building on Del Mabry, and where Wilkes and McHugh is at the Tampa Commons there. The Del Mabry building. It was a brand new building, and they had about 5 floors there.
Wow.
Yep.
So that's what brought them to Tampa.
Yep, that's what brought
Your mom was
us.
from Colorado as well? or-
Yes, my mom is from the southern part of Colorado, Pueblo. I mean, most people don't even, almost very more New Mexico. Yep.
So why South Tampa? Because the base or just
No,
having to work out?
it just worked out that way. My parents had to really put a focus on schools. My poor sister was a senior in high school. And then became a hostess at Selena's. Does anybody remember that? In Hyde Park, that restaurant? Yeah. My poor sister. That's so tough to move her senior year. What is this?
Carrots, right here.
Okay.
They're ribbons, they're phenomenal. Phenomenal. They are.
You're like a best healthy, but you're like
But not.
Tempura.
Very good.
And I see the subtle there too.
Oh yeah.
I love Tampa though. When I don't feel like I never left home, because to me it's an amazing city, and I recognize it for how great it is. It's such a great place to raise children. Our schools are so great. I love it.
Right. So after the CLI, what next?
Went to the state attorney's office, which is when I got to know you, lovely gentlemen, when I was working there. Worked my way up. I think I have to say one of the most impactful things when I was working under Mark Ober was after my maternity leave, if you remember, I did juvenile intake. And that was the first time I was still in court because I had a division, and I got to really work with detectives on doing the warrants the way that I had it. They structured it a little differently in the other divisions, as you guys know, in the felony divisions and the misdemeanor divisions. So I got to it was such an elevation to really get more involved with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and TPD, Plant City Police Department, Temple Terrace Police Department, and get to work on that. Absolutely. And make really hard decisions. You know, it was a lot of cases that nobody wants to hear about, so I won't get into that, but sometimes, you know, I had to learn how to, you know, even with the facts as what they were, you know, you can't prove it. And I had to either send them back to a drawing board and do more investigation, and sometimes, you know, we had to write a letter and say, you're gonna have to move on. And those are hard decisions to make, even to the police officers that work very hard to build a case, that they even become a little bit myopic sometimes in their thinking.
I agree.
We've all done it.
Well, you know, kudos to you, and I think, you know, I worked under Mark Rose too, and what I loved about working for him was, hey, you always wanted to do the right thing. You were not a zealous advocate for the state, which I think, you know, in other parts of the world, you know, state attorneys, district attorneys don't look at it that way. So I appreciated that. And you know, when I was there, and even defending cases, you can see that trickle down to people that work for Mark, because, you know, like you, hey, if it's not there, it's not there. If we can do it, we'll do it. But that's huge because, you know, when you're at the state attorney's office, you're on the side of justice. You're not this zealous representative for the state. So I think that's great. You know, and I think, you know, kudos to you again because, you know, to be able to go back to those officers and say, hey, look, I get you have this, but that's just not enough. It's not easy to do,
Right.
Especially when they are so invested in some of those cases. So that's great.
Well, absolutely. You're having to tell people that you work with, no.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Lindsay, I think, you know, obviously, I think the role of so biased, but I think that's what's going to make you just an absolutely amazing judge. You know, because you're going to do the right thing, and that's not going to be maybe sometimes the favorite thing for somebody sitting there listening to a motion that you may have to rule on. But, you know, I think that type of stuff just shows, hey, look, I'm going to do what's right regardless as to who's sitting in front of me and who I have to tell. And we're going to be respectful when you do it, which is phenomenal as well, but you are going to do the right thing. And you know, that's why, like, you know, when I heard that you were running, I was just so ecstatic because you were just going to be absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to run.
Thank you.
So what are you currently doing now?
So right now I do insurance coverage disputes, mostly tort litigation, a lot of insurance defense. I do some plaintiff's work. I do. I do both. So I do both sides of the fence on that. I'm in court a lot still. And I've got a big trial coming up in August that I'm getting ready to get ready for. I'm definitely just plowing through, and I love it. It's been a whole nother exposure of an area of law, and you get to you still, as you guys know, you meet so many people in that process, and my clients come from all over. A majority of my clients are in Central Florida. As far away as Lakeland, I might have a little bit in Orlando, and then as high up as Fernando. So I'm in all those courthouses. I'm in Bartola and Hillsborough and
When you
Pinellas.
say property, you mean property like homes or property like, you do property defense, right?
A tour. I do
Okay.
a lot of negligence
Okay.
stuff and construction defects
Gotcha.
and all of everything that goes with that. A lot of car accidents.
Now, some of the work now for the last 7 years.
Since 2013 is when I made that switch, and that was another great decision. You know.
So, great career, with a great firm. So why would someone want to give that up and be a judge?
Yes.
So why do you want to become a judge?
So I've set a lot of goals in my career, and you know, the short answer is I've met a lot of the goals, and this is another goal for me. the other thing is I think we've got an unprecedented amount of openings coming up, as you guys are well aware, in Hillsborough County. And I know and I feel confident now where I'm at that I could serve the citizens of Hillsborough County. And what I want people to know, and I appreciate your kind words, Mike, is how I am very even-tempered, and I really, really want to. I think that you can be kind and have grace and have respect at the same time, and that's what is so important for me. And I think there's a lot of that in Hillsborough County, and it's so important that we maintain that. And I'm excited for the opportunity to get that opportunity to be able to do it.
So
And
when you become judge, it's not a if, it's when you become judge. It's any preference. I know they move you around,
Right.
but if you had to pick a preference, what would that be? If you had the opportunity to pick. I know that's not the case.
that's it. Nobody's ever asked me that. That's really tough because right now it would be an honor to be on any bench. I know that sounds like an answer of fluff. It just depends on the day. I definitely, with my background in criminal, I think that I could feel very satisfied being on a criminal bench. Family law, I recognize all the issues. There's things people don't even know that exist that are decided by the circuit court, probate, wills. Judge Espinoza has been doing the Marshman Act forever. He's going to be stuff that's really important. So I don't know, to tell you the truth. I can see just every day just me doing something different. And
Listen, with your background and everything you've done, I mean, you'll be exceptional wherever you go. So, I mean, I think we'd be lucky and fortunate to have you. I'm excited for when that's going to happen because I know that it will. But I think wherever you go, you're going to be in such a good spot because of your background with criminal, because of your background with civil. And, your demeanor is huge because that's going to leave you open to listening to argument. It's going to leave you open to, wanting to get all sides, like you're saying, hey, this is what piqued your interest in that when you were there with the foster. And on top of that, you're going to want to do the right thing. I mean, that's what I love about you. So at the end of the day, that's all we can ever want from the judiciary. Somebody's going to listen to us, even though we may disagree with what their answer is or what their response is. Listen to us, give us the time of day, be respectful, and at the end, do what they think is right, even if it's not what I think should happen on a case. So, to me, I think wherever you end up, wherever you go, you're going to do exceptionally well, whether it be family law first, and then civil, and then criminal, or however that happens. But I'm excited.
thank you, Mike.
Before we go on our next guest, a couple of things. So one, if someone wants to volunteer or help you out, where do they go to find out either more about you or to help out? Where do they go?
Thank you. So I have a website. It is Lindsay, the number 4, Judge.
Okay.
4.
I love it.
We'll put that on the graphic.
I love it.
I am on Facebook. I am learning the ins and outs of social media because I have shied away from it, which is actually a decision I regret now because I now see how fun it is to know what's going on in people's lives.
yeah.
I see all the good things where before I was so shy. So that's the best way is to go to my website. There's a place you can click on how to support me and how things you can do for volunteer and you can check boxes, whether it's to stand at a pole or put a sign in your yard.
Very nice. I love it. So I want to end this segment by saying that the reason why I chose to endorse Lindsay, for what it's worth, I grew up in Tampa, and we've been blessed that we got to come to know a lot of good judges, locally as well as statewide and even in some other states. Mike and I have had cases in other states. He's taking the lead in many of those. And we've come across judges that their judicial temperament, they have none. And some of them, luckily not now, not here. But we've come across judges in our careers in other counties, other jurisdictions where we always wonder, how do they make the bench? But Lindsay, I've known, she's right, I've known Lindsay as a prosecutor, I've known her on the civil side, and she's the same person that, you'll always, what you see is what you get. She's not fake. That means a lot to me. And I think she will be fair in the criminal side, civil side, she will listen. and she's going to be fair. That's why I like Lindsay. So, with that story, I support Lindsay. So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. So, now, but thank you very much. Now you can eat. I know she's been looking at those carrots.
Oh, I've been eating. I'm talking.
Now we want to hear from this gentleman, Mr. Davis, right? And so, is this good? The mic is good, or?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Tell us who you are, where were you born, where did you go to high school, where did you go to undergrad, why did you decide to become a lawyer, and what do you do now?
So I was actually born in Lakeland, Florida.
Okay.
It's about 30 minutes from here. My mother was a school teacher, and my father was a preacher. Yeah. So I went to George Jenkins High School. I don't know if you know George Jenkins, but George Jenkins is actually the founder of Publix. Founder of Publix. He gave property, and they named the school after him. So that's how it happened. And then I went to Stetson undergrad, and then I went to Stetson Law, and then
What was your undergrad major?
so my undergrad major was, so I went through 3 majors.
Okay.
I love it. So I'm sure everyone changed the major at least once or twice.
Sure.
So I started off as like a music education major. I played the trumpet, and then I was a religious studies major for maybe like a day. And then I became undeclared, and then I eventually settled on poli-sci, political science.
Okay.
And it's actually political science that I really discovered the area of law that I really wanted to do. I think I always wanted to be a lawyer. So like I was that kid on the playground, I would say that, I'd say, if you push me off the swing set, I'm gonna sue you.
My shame was not that. It was more aggressive, but
I like that.
What was your saying?
which was what you said. It was a whole different conversation. But you're the right, you're better than me.
Oh well. I was Dr. Bailey. He's a professor at Stetson undergrad. He was big into political science, and he taught this class on law and society, and it was my absolute favorite class. It was about the Constitution, like the Bill of Rights, and I just remember going to the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, and the 14th Amendment. And I'm just really inspired that, one day I like to be those lawyers that are defending the Constitution.
But you are. Huh? You are one of those lawyers, right?
I am.
Wow, that's what you do now.
So that's what I do now. So we do criminal defense, a lot of it in the white collar area, and then we also have a civil rights practice as well. And then we do some plaintiffs work. Generally, though, plaintiffs work against the government, whether it's a local government, state government, and that's sort of my practice. And then we also have an appellate practice. I'm board certified in appeals.
Very nice. So you go to Stetson, and then what internship did you participate in, clerkships, and so on?
Yeah, so as Stetson undergrad, I did the Congressional Black Caucuses internship in D.C. I was 21, and believe it or not, that was my first time ever flying.
Wow.
First time ever flying.
What did you think of that experience? Were you scared?
The flying? Oh my god, yeah, so I thought I was dying. So, I don't know how old you all were when you first flew. Yeah, I was 20 or 21, I can't remember. I think it was 20. Because I turned 21 later that summer. And I just remember my ear, and I thought I was dying. And so, I held on as long as I could. I remember calling asking the stewardess to help. And I just heard, and I thought that was it. I was repenting, God forgive me, it's time to go. Yeah, she's like, that's God.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, so I did a great internship, and then I went to.
Was there any specific, sorry to interrupt, any congressional leader that you teamed up with specifically?
I did.
Who?
Corey Brown.
Corey Brown.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Sounds familiar. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't turn out that well.
Yes, she was eventually indicted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the hesitation before my
Unfortunately,
I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
You might not include that question over there.
yeah. Let's strike that from the movie.
Move to strike.
Yeah.
What
Corey
year was that?
Brown.
What year was it that you worked up in D.C. for the internship?
So that would have been the summer of 04.
Oh, 4. Okay.
Yes, it was summer before, and then I stayed in D.C. and I did the Washington semester at Stetson.
Oh, very cool.
to say it. And so, it's really cool. Like, so I got to meet John Roberts before he made it to the Supreme Court. So the program was structured, so it was at American University. The program was structured is that you basically, you go to various places. And one of the places our professor took us was down to the DC circuit to meet this judge. So, we're talking to him, and then our professor is like, how do you respond to speculation and rumors that you'll be President Bush's next appointment to the Supreme Court? And he's just kind of like, and sure enough, like a couple months, or maybe a year later, I remember seeing him come up, and I was like,
I know him. I know him.
And then he said, I knew him.
That's very cool.
But it was a great program, and I think that furthered my interest in law and society, politics.
Very nice. If you want to ever run for politics, because a lot of people, that's never been your interest.
No, I'll leave that for Lindsay.
Okay, perfect. I don't want to take it for a second.
No, you're fine. I was involved in like a student government, so I was the president of the student government and president of the student bar at Stetson. But I just don't know about politics these days. It's just everything is so polarized.
Yeah.
And I'm a middle of the road moderate. And I don't know that there's any place for me.
I think I am the same way. For what it's worth, I'm the same way, man. I support friends and all that, but I hate to admit, I haven't voted in the general elections at the federal level since 2008, I think. Because you're right, it's just so polarized. That
The nice thing about the judicial races is that it's not, that doesn't
Correct,
play.
correct.
Part of it. I think that is what's nice about that. Because you don't have to sit there and it doesn't become that polarizing event that some of the other races do. But I agree with Mike. We've talked on different shows about running and not, and the climate right now, especially with some of those competing groups, it's just crazy. And I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of it.
No one.
I'm very emotion tied to big politics. I'm more into the smaller local. That affects my life and the lives of my clients.
Thank you.
So I'm big politics.
I got
So Michael, where's your office now?
So my office is in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, so downtown Miami.
So what took you from Stetson back down to Miami?
So it's a crazy story. So after my clerkship, so I actually clerked in Tampa for Judge Covington.
Okay.
Covington.
Okay, yeah, okay.
She's a brilliant woman.
Oh, yeah.
I learned so much.
She was Bryant's boss when Bryant was at U.S. Attorney.
She was my asset forfeiture boss.
She did assets for
I loved her, man. She was my boss for 4 years, and I loved her, man. She was a great boss. I could go on. In fact, I'd love to have her on the show. She's allowed. But so when I see her on the bench, it's like there's that rapport that we have.
And anytime I cover a case for him in front of her, I mean, for the first 5 minutes, it's did he tell you that he used to work for me? I'm like, yes. She's such a great lady. That's awesome.
She's brilliant.
She
And
is,
I learned so much from her.
Yes.
I think by that point, I knew that I wanted to be an appellate attorney. So I was looking for appellate jobs, and
Michael, what year did you quit for?
it would have been 08 to 09.
Okay. Because I remember having cases in front of her when she came back on the criminal bench, and in that time frame, because she was I'll be honest with you, she was one of the first judges back before there was any changes by Congress with respect to the disparity between practical and medical.
Yes, we were doing it. We were ahead of it.
And I remember filing motions in front of her, and she was one of the only judges back then that would actually grant me departure based on that. And I thought, how great is it that she's listening and she would really pay attention to just everything that was going on with that. So that I remember doing that in front of her in that time frame. So that's cool that you were part of that.
So when they say so I was very spoiled with Judge Covington. So when I left, I thought that was an automatic. So we would look out for those cases because Judge Covington is very passionate about it. And once I learned the law had actually made that the case, it's just like, what? The law? I thought that was the law.
Yeah.
So she was very, she's a really good judge.
Yes. Have you met her?
No, not yet. No.
She's Cuban.
Yeah, she's
She's a great lady. She really is.
I do almost everything I do is like personally. I'm on the civil side, well, present. So I think I took on like a criminal client and I was chasing money. Like I was, they were paying me. I was like,
That is the unfortunate part about a lot of that.
yeah. I mean, maybe if I had a good experience the first time, the second time I was like, but oh god, accounting people for money is not my thing.
No, that's hard.
So I like civil personally, and I've done personal injury for a long time. I owned a doctor's office for 13 years doing personal injury. So I'm very, that's like my thing. That's like my, stay in my lane, that's my lane. And
That's good. That's your niche.
that's my niche. And
Tell me about civil rights, though. And enjoy your fish, by the way.
Of course, of course.
Tell us about civil rights.
Yeah, so my firm was, when I left the PD's office and I went to private practice, I joined a guy named Ben Cuny, Lost Ben Cuny, and he did a lot of civil rights and a lot of public interest stuff. A segment of the public interest law that we do has always been civil rights, and those cases are very messy.
Okay.
It's people who presumably had their rights violated. Well, actually, they have had their rights violated. They're seeking recourse from the government.
Right.
And I think what makes it fun, but also challenging, is the law is skewed very much in favor of the officers, the government.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of how the law is developed. So it's one area of the law where there's a lot of research involved and a lot of making sure that you know what you're doing. And that speaks to the appellate attorney in me. So I always enjoy that part.
I have a lot of questions, but I have to go off the camera.
So where are your court cases? Are a lot of them down in Miami? Or are you all over Florida?
All over. So so our criminal cases tend to all be in South Florida. Our election stuff is statewide. So for example, my senior partner, Ben Cuny, so we're Cuny Davis, he's the Cuny. He represented Nikki Free in the RICO, who served as her general counsel for the transition team. So we have that state of practice, and then our civil rights stuff, that tends to be statewide as well. So between lawyers who will bring us in to help them do the case, and then just cases that we get, it tends to be over. So we should have a trial coming up soon in Orlando, and in the middle district there. And then obviously we have some in South Florida, and then we have a couple here.
Very nice.
Michael, that's amazing. Now, what took you down to there from the project, and then I think you said, what was in between? I'm sorry.
Yes, I was looking for appellate jobs. So I wanted to be an appellate attorney. So you guys know Sylvia Walpole? Everyone knows Sylvia Walpole? So I did my 2 summers with Carlton Fields. And so they had just they're really heavy on appellate litigation. And I just remember attending many of her workshops, and I was just really inspired. That's just what I wanted to do. So after my coach job, I was looking for appellate jobs, and the Miami PD's Public Defender's Office, it's one of the best, in my opinion, in the nation. So some of the top criminal defense cases, that are 9-0 decisions have come out of my office, though I'm still there. But out of the Miami-Dade Public Defender's Office, so that's where I went and practiced the private law.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you my wife's number because she does a lot of civil appeals. That's her specialty. But I'd love for you guys to talk because she loves appellate law as much as you do. Like just hearing me talk about it, I hear her talk about it, and I'd love for you guys to talk because I think that's great. That's what took you down Miami.
Yeah, but what about family? You got kids, wife?
So I have a daughter that's 20 months old.
Alright. Congratulations.
And my wife is a scientist. So she's much smarter than I am. So
I feel the same way about my wife.
Yeah, I agree.
and I can't really tell you what it's called, but her background is with the eye.
The background's with what?
The eye, whatever that's called. I don't know. But her and a friend of hers, they I don't know, design something with the eye, and they were bought up by a company in Miami, and so that's how she ended up in Miami, and that's where we met.
Very cool. Very cool.
How long have you been married?
I've been, December will be 3 years.
Okay.
Congratulations. That's great. And how'd you meet Miss Lindsay? How did that happen?
So I met Lindsay through her husband, Manny.
Okay.
Yes, yes. They've got a case out of our office, and so he's been coming up to Tampa.
Okay.
And Michael's a delight to talk to. It's interesting.
Yeah.
We don't talk to a lot of people that do that. It's so select that it's interesting and exciting to hear about other people's inspirations.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. And that's kind of like what we like to do this too, because other people watching, they see the stories of like the humble beginnings and the rise, and it's inspirational for many people. So that's kind of like the main premise. We like introducing everybody, but the reason also is because to hopefully help our community be a better community.
Right. Inspire them like we were inspired, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that's the thing. Somebody sees, successful attorneys and they think, oh, look, maybe it was handed to them, or maybe it just fell in their lap. And then you hear about how all of us have worked up and done different things, and different things in our background that have shaped us. Whether it was cooking for Judge Foster, whether it was cooking for Judge Covington. All the things where you start realizing, hey, these are the things where you really start finding what's meaningful to you, and sometimes I think young lawyers or people coming out of law school don't realize all the hard work that all these successful attorneys do. I remember being a lawyer, and I would see the Frank Labrons of the world, and I love Frank to death, and he's amazing, but I know how hard he worked to get where he is. But I would see that, and I remember being like a prosecutor thinking, wow, but then you realize how tirelessly they work, everything they do, and then you realize, okay, that's just part of it. So I agree with you. I think everybody kind of hearing everybody else's story and just kind of realizing that this is all the work that goes into it. It's just inspiration for you. So
I do have a question for you though. So, do you ever think about like the appointment process? Like sometimes people go for appointment versus running. Like, how did you make the decision that you would go the running route as opposed to waiting for people?
Good question.
I'm asked that a lot.
He's got his own show now. You're live.
I know. So I have gone through the appointment process, and it's a great process. One of the things is, and I think that I have a very good chance over probably a very large number of years to potentially be appointed. There have been a lot of appointments the last couple of years, and one of the things that I have found, because there's been so many, you guys know what I'm talking about, the short list, they tend to be the same with a couple, and there is sometimes a new face on there, and there's a reason they're super qualified, and there's a lot of people that don't have an opportunity to run for judge that I think would be very good judges for various reasons, whether they're in the government sector and they have to support a family and they don't have the opportunity. So it isn't that I think that it is something that is unlikely to happen, but I just, now is my time, and I feel I have the calling right now.
And Lindsay, and I know you said that you taught like middle school, or not middle school, like
Second grade.
Second grade, and you have kids yourself. How many kids do you have?
I have one 9-year-old.
One 9-year-old?
Yep.
Okay.
He's in 3rd grade, although we just finished last week. And he's in 3rd grade at Christ the King.
Okay.
Yeah. We're active parishioners there, so we love it. We love Christ the King. And my husband, like Mike, went to Jesuit, so we wanted to sort of set him up on the track so that at least that would be an option. If he doesn't want to go to Jesuit, we will not make him go to Jesuit. Every child is different, as you know, especially. So, but it has gotten very difficult to get into some of the schools if you're not on a certain track. And we didn't want that door to be closed. Yeah. And then my husband, is a lawyer as well, and that's another thing that has actually always shaped me. Mike's known me for so long that he's known all the stages of my life, but seeing, my husband worked so hard, and nobody's ever handed anything to him, and he's also worked really hard for respect. It really has also been another factor in my life to shape me to be the kind of lawyer that I want to be, and again, to be kind and just to do more listening than talking, I guess.
I always like to ask a question, and I'll follow up with each one of you. What Eddie said, we always want to inspire people. If you ever follow me on Facebook, I've been inspired by people. I'm inspired to this day. I'm 51, and I'm still inspired by whoever, whether it be a celebrity or some poor kid. Like last night, I posted some kid on Make America, one of those talent shows, and he's blind and autistic, and he got on the piano. And let me tell you, last night I'm watching it. I'm not ashamed. I'm crying. My wife is, why are you crying? I go, this is sad. But I posted it because it's so inspirational. So my question for each one of you is this, Lindsay, any words of wisdom to anybody that's listening, either someone who's thinking about being a lawyer or a little girl out there that says, I'd like to be like Lindsay, or even a little boy. What words of encouragement do you have for them?
Do what feels right when it feels right, and go at your pace. So whether we're talking about on an educational basis, I think that you are never too young to start creating a path for yourself, but I also think you're never too old.
Right.
And I don't think that anything should stop you. And I do love that I believe that is becoming, our country and the shift, whether people are now there seems to be a trend, people sort of even waiting a year or two before they go to college. And I don't really have any kind of opinions on that, but it's just never too late to get your life onto a certain track, ever.
I started at 31.
Yeah.
I just turned 40, and I started my associates, my bachelor's, my law degree from the beginning, from 31.
Really?
31 years old.
31 because
That is so interesting.
because I owned a clinic when I was 21, and I had that for 13 years. And then during that time, I'm like, I should probably go to school.
And he went, and he didn't stop. And
It was
look at
kind
him
of a weird
now.
conversation.
You still have the clinic?
No, I don't have any clinic anymore, but it was good for a long time. And my wife was like, I remember driving from my office from Tampa to Riverview, and I was like, we're just having a conversation. She's like, hey, maybe you should go to law school. I said, that's a good idea. Maybe you should go to law school. Just like like how we're just talking now.
Yeah.
And I said, I signed up like HCC like the next semester.
That's awesome.
She's like, why do you do that? Why do you just jump? I'm like, that's okay.
I went to HCC, man. I loved it. It helped me because I had no idea there was going to be a lawyer. That's a whole other show, but I had no idea.
HCC is special, man.
It is, man. It's
not in a good way sometimes.
No, I know.
Where did you go to law school?
I went to Stetson. Yeah. I went to HEC, USF, and then I went to Stetson. But the funny thing about Stetson, again, it's a whole other story. I'm not trying to take anything away from you guys.
We're gonna also do this.
I know we're going to get into that question, but if you know me, my track was going to be an artist, a photographer, a cinematographer, an actor, a writer. And then my wife, who I've been together since high school, she's always been very conservative. She was like, every time I go off track, get back in shape, back in line, right?
I agree.
So
I agree.
Long story short, she was the one who said either be a doctor or be a lawyer. And there's so many people that I met throughout the process that really pushed me to that, like Frank Delgrano, Dr. Halstead at USF, who died of colon cancer. The little people like them who helped me in my career and helped me succeed. But that's what happened. So I went to Stetson because my wife and I were married here, and I didn't want to leave Tampa. My mom and dad were here. My sister was here. And I said, I'm not going to leave. So I didn't apply anywhere else. I got rejected from Stetson 3 times. So finally, the 4th time, they said, all right, you're in. So,
Stop asking.
because right, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Virginia Covington, I applied for 5 years in a row to the point where Virginia, whenever she would reject my application, hey Bryant, hey Virginia, how are you? I just want to tell you, sorry, we're not hiring just yet. She would personally say no to me. So by the time I finally got that interview, and it's a whole different story. I knew Virginia and she knew me. And then think about it, she hired me for her section. She had offered the job to another lawyer, Robin Houston. I don't know if you heard that story. She had offered the job to Robin, and Robin said no. And then so I was runner up. So the whole air.
Wow. I love all the factoids we
I
learned.
know. Oh yeah. Another factoid before we get to that question. The reason why that vacancy came out because Judge Sabella had asset forfeiture, and he quit to go for the sheriff's office. So that left the vacancy. So they offered her Robin said no, they offered it to me. So that's how that happened. So, and that's why I love Virginia for all those reasons. Plus 4 years of learning under her in asset forfeiture. That woman's brilliant, and this is no surprise. So I'm not revealing anything, but she was never there. She pretty much let me run my own practice, if you will, at AUSA. She was always traveling, teaching, networking. I mean, this woman she's known all over the world for her legal mind as well as her asset forfeiture. She teaches people in other countries how to be lawyers, how to be judges and all that. I'm telling you, like her. You know, she's an old-fashioned.
Maybe bring her one day.
Maybe we will. So my question to you, Mike, is any words of advice to anyone out there listening? You know, I just mentioned a young girl. I'm Latino, especially people, a minority, a young black kid, or a different race. What advice can you give them? Because it's not easy. We were blessed in this Latino community, and it helped to be Latino. Okay, so we were blessed in that regard. And so we still had to work hard. But it's not easy. Okay. I'm sure I don't know about Colorado. Maybe I'm generalizing. But what words of advice do you have? Anyone, any kid, any boy, young girl, whatever, that's watching this, what would you give them advice to succeed in America?
I think I'd say you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's really what it comes down to. If you ever try to do something that you've never done before, or if you're trying to achieve a goal that no one in your family's ever achieved, or if you're trying to do something on your own because you don't have the financial support, it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Going to law school is uncomfortable. Going to college is uncomfortable. Trying to get a job is uncomfortable. Trying to succeed. Trying to run for judge is uncomfortable. And I think a lot of it just comes down to just being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I like that, man. So take risks, right?
That's it.
But have faith in yourself. I saw you pray, and I respect that. I'm a faithful person, so I believe in God and I pray. But having faith not just in the higher being, but in yourself, right? Would you agree with that? I mean, because some people don't have faith in themselves.
Of course, I mean, if you ask about my faith, I mean, I think this way that I see it, I believe God loves me, God loves us all, and God is looking out for us. And because I serve a higher power that's looking out for me, I can have confidence in myself that I can achieve.
I agree with that. I love that. Not just faith in God, but faith in yourself too. But sometimes they're interconnected. That's me. That's just me.
It's funny how you say that about being uncomfortable. My mom's biggest thing in my life growing up was just get through high school. That was a big step for her. So then it's just get through high school. And then later on I decided that, I remember when I first opened up my business, she's like, oh my God, what are you doing? Because she was uncomfortable for my mom, because she worked like a very conservative job, making me $10 an hour in her lifetime.
Right.
And so that was very uncomfortable for her. It's uncomfortable for me. And then it got to the point that, and then once they see your success, now they're like, wow, and they appreciate it. So you make me comfortable for your family, right? It's true. But then they see you overstep that, and you keep going. Your ceiling comes in your floor. So I definitely.
Funny how we learned something new from our dad.
I like that saying a lot because that's resonated so much in my life.
Right? It's the first time I heard it in that context.
That was great.
I loved it. So
I like that.
This is great. Thank you guys so much.
yeah. So we always try to end with a little salute. We'll pretend there's wine.
Michael, it's actually a pleasure meeting you, Lindsay.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for the day that I get to be in front of you and call you your honor.
Thank you for your
All
support.
right. Salute.